Hello everybody, Rob here from Airbrush Hobby, and today I wanted to answer the biggest question I've been asked on my channel so far. Whoops. And from my video where I break down the differences between flow improver and thinner, a lot of people, 21,000 views to be more specific, saw that video, and a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, asked, what would happen if you did a mix? Why would you do a mix? So, I did a test and figured it all out, and here we go, because I couldn't find it anywhere on the internet, so I'm just going to give it to you guys straight up, using both an air paint, a Fanatic paint as my base, and then a primer, which is somewhere behind me. So basically, why would you mix, and what does the mix do? Well, let's go with what does the mix do first. So, if you're doing a mix, you're basically getting, and honestly, I figured after maybe spraying one of the Gallo Dark things behind me, I realized what you get. So you get the best of both worlds. So you get the higher dry time with the flow improver, and you get the chemical breakdown and better coverage with the thinner, and then the atomizing and all that stuff, which you can then tweak. If you want your paints to be a little bit flowy better, and you want them to dry a little bit lesser, you add more flow improver in comparison to thinner. So for example, my airbrush paints here, they're already thinned down. I don't need them thinned. I want them to just dry a little slower, just so I can do my blends and things like that with them. Make sure that I got good coverage. Yeah, I'm going to have to do more than one or two thin coats. Not a big deal. So what I did was I did some thinner, but a little bit more flow improver than thinner, and the paint flowed really nicely through the airbrush and took a little time to dry, a little longer than it would be if it was just thinner. With the Fanatics paint here, I put more thinner than flow improver because I wanted to break down the paint to make it nice and thin so it would obviously go through the airbrush, but at the same time I wanted to offset that drying time, so I added some flow improver. That then increased the dry time. Not as high as it would be if it was just flow improver, but it helped break it down, increase that flow time. In the end, using them together is an amazing thing. Now, I'm not going to give you perfect ratios because everyone's different airbrush, different nozzle sizes or needle sizes, different air pressures, different humidity differences and things like that. But yeah, I just wanted to point out that mixing them together, right now I have an 80-20 mix because that's what I was just using as an experiment, but I'm going to tweak it. But basically, yeah. So the thinner will break down the paint and will cause the higher probability of, basically increasing the dry time. But you add flow improver and that counteracts that dry time. It increases how long it is until it dries. So you're basically using the flow improver to negate the negative on the thinner. So I just wanted to point that out. So there you go. That is it. Just to summarize once again, it thins your paints nicely, gives you nice coverage, but not as good coverage if it was just thinner, but gives you a higher dry time, not as high as it would be with the flow improver, but you get the best of both worlds. What I will say to people out there, if they're going to ask what good ratios are good to use, I'm not going to give you one. For me, I'm using multiple different ratios for primers, for air paints, and then also for basic acrylics, like the Fanatic there, for example. I'm using 3 different ratios because each of those things is different than the previous one. And even speed paints. I'm probably going to have a different ratio for that one, and a different ratio, for example, for metallics and things like that. So I just wanted to put that out there because I hadn't seen anyone else actually say why to do it or what it does. In the end, I hope that answered a lot of people's questions. I really appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.